Welcome back to Gameplay Reviews, where I review movies, TV shows about gameplay plays in the background. Today I'm reviewing The Batman 2022, directed by Matt Reeves and stars an ensemble cast consisting of Robert Pattinson, Paul Dano, Jeffrey Wright, Zoe Kravitz, and Andy Serkis, and Colin Farrell. So to start, the summary for this movie is, the film is set in the early years of Batman and shows a younger and more angry Batman. It's set in his second year as Batman and shows the investigation of a string of murders. When a new villain shows up in Gotham, it sets to expose the true colors of Gotham's elites. So, to begin this review, the characters in this film are all great, and the performances for each character is excellent, and everyone gives their all in their performances, especially Robert Pattinson as Batman / Bruce Wayne. Robert has always given good performances, but everyone still remembers him for the Twilight movies. But those movies don't really give this man's acting justice, and this movie will wipe Twilight from everyone's collective memories. This version of Batman is more of a angry and more emo version than other versions of Batman. While we don't even see where Batman ends and Bruce Wayne begins, as this Batman is still in his early years and still developing what it means to be Batman. The other actors like Zoe Kravitz, Andy Serkis, and Colin Farrell give excellent performances. While Colin Farrell gives an over-the-top performance with the Penguin, it still fits with this version of this character in this movie. And the relationship between Alfred and Bruce is just a joy to watch. You can see the strained relationship between Alfred and Batman. As you can see, Alfred wants to be a father figure to Bruce but doesn't know how to show it. Along with that, the relationship between Batman and the other characters are all good. They all have really good interactions with Batman / Bruce Wayne. While Gordon doesn't have a lot of character development in terms of what his backstory is, what is shown is that he's more of a sidekick for Batman and helps in solving the investigation. And the interaction between Bruce and Selina are great and shows the vulnerable side of Bruce and sees what he wants but ultimately can't have, as he is committed to his crusade to saving Gotham. And Paul Dano as the Riddler is the best interpretation for this character. While everyone has a soft spot for Jim Carrey's version of the character back in Batman Forever, this version of the character is far more grounded and more sinister than the one we got in that movie. While we do see the over-the-top nature from Gary's version in his character, but overall this is just a different interpretation, and Paul Dano just hits it out of the park with a Zodiac-inspired version of this character. And the cinematography for this film is excellent, and the heavy uses of shadows and lighting to really emphasize the dirty and corrupt look of Gotham. And the standout scene for me, at least, is the car chase scene and the hallway scene in this movie. The movie is just gorgeous to look at, and it shows that with a great director, comic book movies can be something more. And with Matt Reeves in the helm, he puts the same effort and gritty nature that he gave the Planet of the Apes reboot sequels into this film. My overall thoughts for this movie is that it's a great combination of realism but with a mix of comic book aesthetics, and with great acting, cinematography, and direction from Matt Reeves, this is the best solo Batman film since The Dark Knight. So the question remains, does this movie dethrone The Dark Knight as the best Batman movie overall? That's purely subjective, and both movies have elements that make them excellent movies. But if I have to choose at this time, I would certainly give the top spot to The Batman 2022. So I rate this movie a 5 out of 5. With some of the greatest action scenes and good story backing it up, it's by far the best movie of this decade so far.